YouTube DPAL3543 here. I want to try something new here. I'm going to do a daily top 10 and top 15. And today we're going to talk about the top 15 more bizarre Kiddie Cartoon conspiracy theories brought to you by Flavorwire. I'll leave the link down in the description below. But let's get started. Alright. Number 1. Donald Duck has PTSD. From the Journal of Cartoon Overanalyzations comes this diagnosis for Donald Duck's erratic behavior, though not for his epidemic of pantlessness. He has post-traumatic stress disorder, induced when he was a paratrooper in World War II. As the theorist notes, he seems to have fairly regular flashbacks, difficulty responding normally to social stimuli, and persistent symptoms of increased arousal. For example, difficulty falling or staying asleep, anger, and hypervigilance, not to mention a total disinterest in talking about his wartime experience. Sorry. 2 of 15. The Smurfs are white supremacists / Nazis / anti-Semites. Or blue supremacists, I guess you could say. Either way, many have noted that the Smurfs wear pointed white hats, except for their leader, who wears a pointed red hat, much like the fashion decisions of the KKK, also known as the Ku Klux Klan, from back in the day. There's also the related fact that the big villain, Gargamel, is a money-loving, large-nosed, dark-haired fellow. His cat even has a bona fide Jewish name, Azrael, which is also the name of the angel of death in Jewish tradition. There's also this, and it's not even all the Smurf conspiracy theories. Check out a roundup. Well, that will be another for some other time. We'll look at those theories probably tomorrow. Alright. The Care Bears is voodoo masquerading as children's entertainment. According to at least one writer, the Care Bears is the absolute height of voodoo infiltration in children's entertainment. Start with the name first. Who can deny the similarity between the name Care Bears and Carrefours? The district of Port-au-Prince, which is the heart of the voodoo world. Can the cloud city of Carolot be anything but an idealized holy city of the Loire, a divine reflection of Carrefours? Then consider some of the terminology. The Care Bears constantly want to share until you care, just as the Loire want to share the bodies of their worshippers. The Care Bears are constantly trying to be children's friends, just as the voodoo Loire are often referred to by their followers as friendly spirits or just friends. Another thing you can look at would be Disney's Princess and the Frog, when Dr. What's-His-Face mentions friends on the other side. Plus, the cuddly insignias, or arcane symbols, on the Care Bears' tummies line up rather nicely with the symbols of the voodoo gods. Hide your children. I really would, though. I wouldn't want some little bears coming in and teaching my children about voodoo.
Yeah. How's that even possible?
That's sad.
That's sad.
That is. For those of you who don't know, I'm watching Markiplier's 400 Years Let's Play, and just reached the part when the stone guy decided he was going to lay down and prevent the lava from overflowing and killing everybody. Anyway, Aladdin's genie and the salesman are the same person.
So sad.
Yeah, we get it. Remember the frame narrative at the beginning of Aladdin? Well, some enterprising viewers on Reddit have noticed some alarming similarities between the salesman trying to pawn off what we soon discover is actually the genie's lamp, or an identical one, and the genie himself. Firstly, they're both voiced by Robin Williams. God bless his soul. Such a shame that we lost him. Anyway. Secondly, they both wear blue with a red sash at the waist. They have the same facial hair, bushy eyebrows, and a beard that ends in a little curl. But the clincher is this: they're the only two characters in the film that have only 4 fingers. So the genie got free and decided to sell trinkets? It's not totally impossible. But as one Redditor says, go deeper. The genie is the merchant trying to sell himself. Yeah. Mind blown, eh? Here's another Aladdin one. Aladdin is set in the future. Here's another popular theory for you Aladdin fans. The genie says he's been locked up in his lamp for 10,000 years, right? He also tells Aladdin his clothes are so 3rd century, which, as many smart aleck commenters have pointed out, would set the action of the movie at least 10,300, so that so that explains all the flying carpets and magic, just future tech made rare in a post-apocalyptic semi-Arabic world. That theory would kind of make sense, but I have a theory that Genie can time travel. I mean, he utilizes magic. And if you watch, if you go into the bonus features of the DVD version for one of their anniversaries or whatever, there's this bonus feature where Genie sends Jafar and Iago postcards while they're both still in the lamp, and one of the postcards came from Disney World or Land, and if this took place in the future and it was in post-apocalyptic world, it wouldn't be there. Neither of them would be there. No way.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Number 16. Dr. Claw is the real Inspector Gadget. According to this popular fan theory, related by Correct, the reason we never see Dr. Claw's face is that he is actually the real, or at least the original, Inspector Gadget. That is, according to this theory, which states that the Inspector Gadget we know and love is a robotic recreation of the man Dr. Claw once was, a normal human detective who suffered a terrible accident. That's where his conveniently smart niece comes in. Penny, in her grief, recreated her uncle as a crime-fighting robot, ignoring that the real man wasn't dead, only disfigured and insane. This would also explain why nothing ever happens to Penny, even though Claw's cronies seem to catch her every episode. She always finds a way to ruin Claw's plans because she's the only thing he still cares for. And hey, remember the part at the end of the opening thing where Gadget turns Claw's chair around? There's a bomb in it? A bomb that then explodes in Gadget's face? Perhaps this is what was meant to be symbolic. Perhaps there's no Claw, just Gadget. I would say my mind was blown from that. Number 7. Tom and Jerry is Nazi propaganda. Well, this can't be true, but somebody believes it, so it counts as a theory. Jim McLennan writes, as well as being the most Oscar-winning duo in history, Tom and Jerry were also more or less the opposing sides in World War II. Tommy's the British soldiers, and Jerry's the Germans. I think it's safe to assume, especially in the context of a series which began right around the time of the Battle of Britain, that the choice of these names was no accident, especially since it precedes the American entry into World War II. They are also markedly different to the meaningless names selected for other MGM cartoon characters around that time, e.g., Sniffles, Droopy, etc., etc. Perhaps the most disturbing thing about this theory is that Jerry is the good guy, the peace-loving victim of Tom's evil schemes, but who usually wins due to his superior intelligence, Read in a wartime context, the suggestion that violence isn't a solution goes beyond the subversive and borders on outright sedition. An alternative explanation that Jerry equals GI is no more loyal, since it suggests that two allied sides were fighting each other. In either case, it's certainly worth noting that MGM were conspicuous by their absence in the field of animated Allied propaganda, even at the height of the war. Tom and Jerry was a series most entirely free of political commentary. They can say that, but I honestly doubt it, because around that time, no cartoon was free from political
Looks like Peanuts.
commentary. You can even look at the old Disney cartoons. Number 8. Charlie Brown is dying of cancer. According to at least one theorist, my personal explanation for why Charlie Brown is in Peanuts is bald is he's dying of cancer and dreaming of everything. In this strip, nothing ever works out for him, and life is a disaster. But he's simply channeling his sadness into his dreams.
Pokemon.
Number 9. Pokemon's Ash is actually in a coma. For almost every unrealistic kids cartoon out there, read all of them, there's a theorist explaining how the main character is actually insane, in a coma, dead, and that's why the world he inhabits is so bonkers. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this theorist really goes above and beyond. We will read more about that some other time, maybe in another video. Number 10. The kids from the Magic School Bus grow up to be the kids from Captain Planet.
That's true. Weirdly, that is true.
Originally spotted by Jamie Steinhammer, this more in-depth explanation comes from Geekosist. Gaia pulled a Jacob, Lost, kidnapping a bunch of children and relocating them to an island where she brainwashed them into thinking they were in school and she was their teacher, Miss Frizzle. In reality, this was an indoctrination camp where she created the perfect pollution fighters by instilling a love of science and ecology into them at a young age. Not all the kids made the cut. Phoebe resisted the brainwashing, unable to forget her previous life, and constantly making references to her old school. It was a pathetic cry for help, and an attempt to hold on to her last shred of sanity. Ralphie fell under Janet's spell, and the two escaped the island, only to be driven mad by their memories. Eventually, they turned to a life of crime, becoming Huggish Greedily and Dr. Blight respectively. The mysterious time-dilating effects of Gaia's island accounts for their discrepancies in age. Keisha's current whereabouts are unknown. When her class had matured sufficiently, Frizzle/Gaia wiped their memories and sent them out as an eco-friendly sleeper cell until she had need of them. Years later, she gave them the power rings and sent them off on an ecologically toyetic series of adventures. Which kind of makes sense. They really do look the same.
Yeah. Wally, do
Number
not ruin
11.
this for me. I like Wally.
Wally is a cannibal robot who destroyed Earth. Sweet and cuddly robot in a post-apocalyptic setting or merciless scavenger molding the new world to his liking. According to one Reddit user, definitely the latter. The Earth Recovery Act was going perfectly fine until one Wally unit went rogue. This particular unit wasn't very good at its job, often refusing to crush particular objects. Instead, it wanted to keep these trinkets as treasures. However, all the other units were still indiscriminately compacting everything, including trinkets this particular Wally wanted. So this rogue unit began destroying all the other units and cannibalizing their parts. It continued its senseless cannibalism until there weren't enough Wally units left to combat the growing problems of Earth. Its continued cannibalism allowed this rogue unit to continue operating long past its original operation lifespan, continuing to function over 700 years. Alone, he can now select to pull out and protect his trinkets while still compacting all the rest of the Earth's junk. In the movie, we see tons of mindless parts cannibalism performed by our protagonist. He takes the trends off of a fallen comrade without a second thought. He hoards the parts of his dead brothers in his trailer, along with all his precious trinkets that he had to protect from all other Wally units. The reason why there is still so much trash on Earth despite 700 years of compacting is all because the other compactors were killed early on, and thus for 700 years only one unit has been working on the trash instead of a whole planet worth of units. Which would be kind of hard to do, because he can't necessarily just go off to anywhere in the world and kill anything. But
OddParents.
You never know. Number 12. The fairies in the Fairly OddParents are metaphors for antidepressants. According to a theory that comes, yet again, courtesy of Reddit, Timmy's fairy godparents are simply metaphors for Zoloft and Prozac. They're there to help him through his problems, but only until he doesn't need them anymore. Plus, not only did they start showing up at the same time as his problems, but there are also some serious side effects every time he abuses their magic. Excuse me.
Another Fairly OddParents.
Number 13. Or maybe they're just imagined by sexually abused little boy. Here's another theory from the Fairly OddParents is about a kid playing pretend with his fish. His godparents died in a car crash when he was younger. Since they were the only adults who ever understood him, he finds comfort in imagining that they are there to watch over him, since his parents obviously don't care. His babysitter slaps him around, but he isn't brave enough to tell on her. The granted wishes are all in his imagination, hence why they never have any lasting consequences. Mr. Crocker has made sexual advances on young Timmy for years, hence the delusion that he is desperate to steal Timmy's fairies, which represent his innocence, joy, hope, and good wishes for the future. Itchy nose.
I don't know this one.
Number 14. Totoro is the angel of death. Because everyone who sees him dies in short order. And then there is this fishy thing about the sisters having no shadows. I'll read the whole breakdown now because why not? Reason 1. It's saying that Totoro is in fact messenger of death, and whoever sees him will soon die. The hospital that the sister's mother was in was based on a real hospital for terminally ill patients. Excuse me. Later in the story, the villagers find a slipper in a pond, which is in fact Mei's. At this point, she is already drowned in the pond. Satsuki lied that the slipper wasn't Mei's out of denial. Ever since this scene, the sisters appear to have no shadow. Satsuki pleaded to Totoro and the cat bus to take her to where May is, while on the cat bus says, "Nobody can see us." This scene is Satsuki leading herself to the land of the dead. At the hospital, the mother says, "I think I feel May and Satsuki smiling there in that tree. Why don't the sisters go and see their mom if they are already there? Why do they just leave the corn there instead?" It is said that the sisters were dead at that point, and the Japanese pronunciation of corn is similar to kill child. The final scenes seem to be a happy epilogue, but they in fact happened before the major events in the movie. The movie was set place in Japan, where there was a case of murdering two sisters, which happened in the 60s. This event took place on May 1st, while the sisters' names are Satsuki, May in Japanese, and May in English. In the real life case, the younger sister's body was found in the forest, stabbed to death. The older sister was in such a state of shock and kept rambling ambiguous words about seeing a cat monster, great big raccoon monster, etc. to the police. The sisters were in fact from a single parent family. Mother died of illness. Ever since these rumors started to circulate, people have been calling Ghibli for verification. Is Totoro death? Why don't the sisters have shadows later in the movie? And Ghibli made an announcement on their blog site about the shadow issue, saying that there was no shadow because the animators decided there was no shadow needed in those scenes. Maybe because of light source. Easy. That was pretty dark, actually.
Last one.
If it loads. Number 15.
Toy Story?
Toy Story 3 is a Holocaust allegory. Jordan Hoffman at Yugo has made some highly disturbing observations about the latest installment in everyone's favorite franchise, namely, that it's a direct allegory to the Holocaust, with the toys as the Jews. It starts when Andy leaves for college. These toys are left behind, just as host nations left behind the Jews as the Third Reich conquered Europe. Woody holds a meeting where the assembled toy family discusses possible outcomes for their new position in the world. Change a few words and it is the same exact scene at the train station from Roman Polanski's award-winning Holocaust drama, The Pianist. No, we won't just be abandoned. Surely we can be useful to them somehow. Yes, we've lost friends, Bo Peep, but surely that can't happen to us. Buzz Lightyear stands forward and suggests sanctuary in an attic. The cattle car comes for the toys in the form of a horrible garbage bag, but they don't go straight to extermination. They find themselves alive at Sunnyside, where they're put to work. Consider this, then, Dachau instead of Treblinka. Once there, they meet the toy version of Sonderkommando toys who live and stay fed and well sheltered, like Ken in his dream house, while leading other toys to a certain death. Newcomers are bashed and abused by the Caterpillar Room by non-age appropriate children until they resemble Musulman and are eventually thrown into the trash chute. The trash chute leads to a systematic sorting of metal, e.g., any last valuables, until, eventually, the fiery crematoria. Our heroes get saved at the last minute, of course, and they find themselves a new homeland. It is a place where many of their kind already live and have established foothold, and it would appear that security, finally, is at hand as they are vigilant. In case your mind isn't blown enough, the same writer can also give you a rundown on Toy Story 3 as a Marxist text, as an existentialist text, or as a panoply of world religions. Those will read about in another video. If you like this video, look forward to tomorrow's video, where I'll be discussing the recess theory and the Ed and Eddie theory. Also, if there's any other top 10 or top 15s you'd like me to look at, let me know down below. And if there's any other kind of theories you'd like me to read about, let me know down in the comments below. Hope you like this video, and please subscribe to my channel for some awesome Let's Plays, song covers, and more videos like this.
Smash at the same time.
I will see you tomorrow.